All right, so this is going to be another video about finding derivatives using limits, only this time our function is going to be the square root of x. So basically it's saying differentiate, d over dx means differentiate, so find the derivative of the square root of x. Okay, that's what differentiate means, find the derivative. So that's what we're going to do. I just kind of copied it down here. So from here, the first thing we're going to do is write out the limit definition of a derivative. So we have the limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to substitute these values in. So this f of x plus h, I'm just going to write that down here. F of x plus h is going to be equal to the square root of x plus h. Okay, so the next line I'm just going to be substituting this in. I just want to do this to kind of organize myself a little bit. This f of x is just going to be the square root of x, so I'm going to write that down as well. So f of x is going to be equal to the square root of x. Okay, now I'm going to substitute these values in right up here. So we have this equal to the limit as h goes to 0 of the square root of x plus h minus the square root of x all over h. Okay, now there's not much we can do here. We can't just substitute in the h, because if we the 0 in for h, because if we did, we'd end up with 0 up top and 0 in the bottom. So we'd have a 0 over 0. But since we have a 0 over 0, we can do something with this. And what we can do is we can use our rationalizing technique to rationalize this numerator. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to multiply by the conjugate here, which is just going to be the square root of x plus h. Instead of minus the square root of x, it's going to be plus the square root of x. And we have to do the same thing for the bottom here, for the denominator, so square root of x plus h plus the square root of x, just like that. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to simplify, so we're going to multiply across. So we're going to multiply these numerators across. We have the square root of h times, or square root of x plus h times the square root of x plus h, so that would just be x plus h. Okay, now since this is a conjugate, those middle terms cancel out, so we can just focus on the last one, square root of x times the square root of x, which is x, or negative x, I should say. And then we're going to divide this by h times, so I'm just multiplying across in the denominator, the square root of x plus h plus the square root of x. Okay, now some interesting things happen here. We have x plus h minus x, so this x's will actually cancel out to be x minus x is 0. And then you have an h up top and an h on the bottom. Well, this will also cancel out to be 1 over 1. And now we're left with 1 over this square root of x plus h plus the square root of x. So now if we look at this h going to 0, we can use direct substitution, because now this is going to be a continuous function at 0. So what I'm going to do is just kind of put a line through this h, because it's going to 0. We don't need to worry about it. And you end up with 1 over the square root of x plus the square root of x, which ends up being 1 over 2 times the square root of x. And that ends up being our derivative for this original function of the square root of x. So that's finding derivatives using limits. If you have any questions about this, please let me know.